All right, hello. Welcome to day 63 of our 100-day practice challenge. Whoa, we're almost 3/4 of the way. It's been a long, long road. It takes a long time to do this process, so I really commend you for getting this far. And I'm hope by now you've had experiences where you feel like you just aren't getting anywhere and you've like been on the same number or the same 10 digits for a long time, the 40s for a long time, the 30s for a long time. And I just want you to know that being able to overcome those challenges are what part of this challenge is about. So I'm just going to play a song to sort of get people that want to jump on live to join. So here's a song my friend wrote, Darlenia from Ontario, and it's a beautiful song. And she wrote it when I was with her, so here it is. Come down to the water, now look into the distance. Come down to the water, now look into the distance. Here we are, between it all, little water, now look into the distance. We're in the middle of life, moving in circles round and round. Nobody knows where it starts or where it finishes. Our tears fill the ocean, ebbing and flowing, never we know when it's coming back around again. So come down to the water, now look into the distance. Come down to the water, now look into the distance. Here we are, between it all, made of water. Now look into the distance. Way out, yeah, hey, way out, way out, oh, way out, yeah, way out, come down to the water, now look into the distance. Come down to the water, now look into the distance. Here we are, between it all, made of water. Now look into the distance. Here we are, between it all, made of water. Now look into the distance. Okay, all right. So a little water song, Come Down to the Water by Darlenia. And she wrote that beautiful song when she was standing in Lake Michigan and she was looking up at the clouds, and it was one of those gray, super cloudy days, and she was looking at the edge of the horizon, which was barely visible, and then the water of the lake. And so she was looking up, she was like, oh, wow, water in the clouds, water, water, water. And then she's like, whoa, water in the lake, water, water, water. And then she got to her feet in the water, and she's like, whoa, I'm made of water too. And so that beautiful idea of water never being destroyed, I guess, or changed, that it's just constantly flowing in people's bodies, out of their bodies, into the clouds, into the lakes. And it's just a beautiful image of how connected we are to nature and how connected we are to life. So on that note, let's get into our practice challenge. So what I want to do is, somebody brought up, I believe it was Sarah, brought up how she has a hard time playing solos and getting the timing right, like how to end and how to start, how to like keep the time in your mind in a solo. And also she mentioned playing with others, and I think that both of those two things are connected, although playing with others has some different skills that you need. But we're going to kind of cover this, and maybe it'll help you play with others as well as get your solo timing down. So I have an exercise. So what I'd like you to do is I would like you to play a rhythmic pattern. So that can be any pattern whatsoever. And I want you to incorporate this into your daily practice this week, okay? So in your daily practice, I'd like you to add, hey, Ayu, can you please stop? Please stop. Thank you. In your daily practice, I'd like you to add maybe like 2 to 5 minutes to do this exercise. So just a little bit. So what I'd like you to do is play a rhythmic pattern. So that can be a rhythm, or it can just be a groove. It can be whatever you want. Pick something, and then I want you to play a solo. So you sort of play the rhythmic pattern maybe 2 times through, depending on how long it is, and then play a solo idea 2 times through, the same amount of time, and then go back to the rhythm. And so you're switching back and forth. And what you're doing is it's a really controlled way to practice going from a pattern that's like somebody else, it's like a rhythm that you didn't create, and then going into your own expression of either that rhythm or your own just sort of feel in that moment, and then back to the rhythm. And it's a really useful skill for learning how to time your solos, because you're practicing on developing like how long you're taking and how to feel the pulse during that time. And then what you can do is you get better and better as you start to make the phrases longer and longer. So I'm going to do a little example. And so I'd like you to work this into your practice. This is could be right after your first touch. So after you kind of play your instrument, improvise a little bit, then you can try this exercise. So I'm going to do Beledi, which is an Arabic rhythm, but you can do any rhythm you want. I'm going to play it 2 times through. And then after I get 2 times through, I'm going to solo whatever I want, but I'm going to keep the same amount of time. So the way that would work before I play it is like Beledi goes doom doom teka tek doom teka tek teka doom doom teka tek doom teka tek teka solo 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 back to the rhythm doom doom teka tek doom teka tek. So like that. And sometimes it's really helpful before you begin, if you feel like you are getting lost, or you can get lost in how much time goes by, is you actually practice that sort of mentally saying or physically saying the solo, 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 solo. And eventually you'll get an internal sort of rhythm sense, but you have to practice it. So here it is. Here's a little example. Of that. So practice that, and then what you can do to start creating it to be longer is then you can maybe play the rhythm 4 times through, and then your solo 4 times through. And then when you're playing your solo, eventually you want to think about phrasing. And so phrasing is this idea that when I say a sentence, I speak a sentence, and then when I'm done, I have a pause. Okay, so when you're saying something musically, it's the same idea because it's still a language. So you want to say like blah 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 blah, and I'm gonna pause at the end. There's somehow you can kind of create the energy of like what you're saying in your solo has a phrase. That takes time to develop, but I just want you to have an awareness. The other awareness you can throw in there is dynamics. So getting louder and softer, so building up to a point, or like getting down to a quietness. So make sure that all the time you're practicing your music with different dynamics, because otherwise you end up being kind of like a monotone player the whole time. So you want to be able to sort of be like, woo, you know, you know, and so be able to, and we can talk about dynamics more. I'll add that on the list and give you some exercises. But just be aware, like today I'm going to practice all my stuff really quiet, or I'm going to play this part really loud, or this part like a little soft, or this part a little loud, you know, and just being aware that when you set that up. Anyway, that's a different subject. You can start into that if you want, but we'll discuss it later. So here's I'm going to do 4 times through and then a 4 times solo, thinking about phrasing a little bit more. So here we go. 2, 3, 4, solo. I'll do it one more time. 4, 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. So when you do 4 times, you can see that you have a little more space to work and also a little more space to get lost. So make sure when you do the 4 times through that you are still counting. So doom doom tek tek doom da 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 2 da 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 3 da 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 4 da 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 da, then solo and soloing. Keep soloing. Now maybe end with a phrase and back to the rhythm. Okay, so make sure if that is a challenge for you that you mentally go through the steps of saying how long your space is, and eventually you're going to develop an internal sense, which means that in your brain, no matter what you're playing, your brain is still going click, click, clickety, click. 2 times through, do-do-do. 3 times through, ba-ba-ba-ba. 4 times through, ba-ba-ba-ba, and then back to the rhythm, okay? And you want to develop that. And eventually, that becomes just a feeling. You'll feel like, oh, I think this is the time, this is the ending, you know? So practicing 4 and 8 patterns are really helpful for that. Okay, so I'm gonna make a note about dynamics. Please write in the comments how things are going for you, if you have any questions. What day you're on, because I'm doing a check-in this week to make sure I know where everybody's at. People are doing awesome. We have people that are on day like 20 something, and we have people that are on day 60 something at this point, and it's all good. Okay, go your own pace, and as long as you're making progress and you're practicing more than 3 times a week, that's the key. So all right, have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week, and good luck. Reach out if you need anything. Okay, bye-bye.